We are back for another just drive and chat, you know? I actually really enjoy these. Sorry, I'm pulling up my driveway, so a little bit beepy, but I enjoy just getting the opportunity just to chat to you guys. And obviously these are unfiltered, so if you do enjoy watching these, let me know. If you don't enjoy watching these, just keep it to your fucking self. I don't know about it. I'm enjoying myself, I'm having a good time, and I'm trying to actually get on top of the YouTube game. So there's gonna be a lot more of that coming, but actually a bit more developed, like full vlog kind of vibe, but it won't be anytime soon. So for now, it's just this. And I want to talk about federations in the UK. And obviously this comes from big IPF changes, and that is the game. Like, there's always a new IPF change, there's always a new rule, there's always a little bit of drama over there, and I find the federation thing a bit weird, right? So let's just start with a harsh truth. If you're not in the top 0.1%, you have no business worrying about the IPF. You also have no business in your bio saying IPF lifter, blah, blah, blah. You've never been to an international. That is the international body of the International Powerlifting Federation. You're in your federation, right? Whether that's the BP, or if you're in the Irish, or whatever it may well be. And it's not to say you shouldn't aspire to that. Like, I actually am fucking competitive, and I am all for and always for people really striving to be their best and chasing people who might be their idols, that cliche of like work until your idols become your rivals. And like I say, I'm really for that. I think it's an awesome thing. I've gone the wrong fucking way. I've got like 2 routes I have to do and I always forget. But here's the thing for me, like, that's cool, but with the Section 14 thing, so if you compete in a different federation, the IPF, will ban you for a year, which I think also, by the way, is verging on illegal. I know there's still a court case against it, but the principle being, like, that's only 1 year though, and you're probably not making it to an international standard in your first year. Now, if you're in a certain part of the country where the BP competitions are really good, like they're run well, they're well organised, they're good events with a great atmosphere, this might not even be a debate, like, in terms of where to compete. Then they change a load of the rules and people go, I guess I'll change it again, and so on, and being like, again, I'm on board with that. I'm on board with going, I want to be in this fed, they're the standards, I have to hit those standards. But again, if you're not even in that percentile, why would it not be a case of, well, lift the way you want to lift in a place where you can lift like it and that you can enjoy yourself? Like, I feel like that's kind of a given. I don't know. I find that a little bit weird. And so they've changed rules like no celebrating on the platform, obviously to a degree, when it's not being dramatic, but none of the backflip shit. I'm on board with that because I think it's just for clout, and I genuinely think it's embarrassing. But like shouting and like going a bit nuts, mate, we are passionate about this shit. That's why we do a sport that has no money, you're not going to get paid for, that also like doesn't have that big viewership, and it's actually got depreciating numbers at the moment. So like, celebrate all the fuck you want in my eyes. Like that bit I outright disagree with. And then after changing the bench rules and having bench depth, which I still think is a funny sentence, depth on bench. No one's ever said that. But then people try to get around it with some kind of a heave style bench. And really what you're finding out is that the IPF, what they meant and just didn't have the balls to initially say was, we just want a larger range of motion with still a soft touch. That's what they want. And that's okay to say. And so now they got rid of the, like, a heave to a degree where basically you're seeing the body shift, and it is a very specific style that actually was really being utilised by lighter females to try to get around this arching rule to move as much weight as possible. And one thing I will say that never gets spoken about, it is fucking mental that the records haven't been changed. So like, if you want a record now, which is part of the game day play as well, you can't beat the people who didn't have the rules you have. Now, I actually don't know, and feel free to comment below, like, if that's the case in other sports, where like they change a fundamental rule, and then someone who wasn't abiding by that rule, that record stands. Maybe it does, but I do find that nuts, because some people who had like a 1 inch range of motion or had that heave style bench, they're just never going to get beaten again. So those records will just stand forever. which I find really interesting. But anyway, the point being, you can go take some time to compete elsewhere. Like, there are other federations, and again, I do stand by, some of them are just not doing well. I competed in the BDFPA for a beginning of my career, and I loved it. Great community, really good vibe. But I'll be honest, the reinvestment in that federation is nigh on dead. Equipment in warm-up rooms is shoddy. Venues are freezing cold. Like, I personally funded the World Championships for the BDFPA a few years back. I think it's like 3 years ago now. And I don't think, like, I think that was one of the better World Championships they've had. And we got thrown under the bus by that federation, like, it was so badly. That's a whole other story for another time. And I just wouldn't direct lifters there. But then there's the ABPU and the WRPF, and their lifters doing some really cool stuff. Their federation's doing some really cool stuff. And I think there's some opportunity there to go have some real fun in a different environment while you still get stronger. Like, you can still just go train. You can still just go get better at what you're doing. And then if you go, no, but the IPF is my thing, and be like, right, well, when you're within a year of even knowing you're close to that standard, drop the other federation, move back over. That's it. It's not that big a deal. But at the same time, if you don't enjoy it, guys, no one cares. We don't care about that comp photo you need to have as your display picture that has you at a very clear BP comp. We don't care that you're trying to do it for clout. People barely care what your numbers are, man. What we fucking love is people lifting heavy shit and enjoying it. And anyone who judges you for being in a different federation to them, I guarantee that's the type of person that lasts 2 years in this sport top end. I am literally, I think I'm hitting my 14th year in this now, which is still nuts. I feel like a child. It's crazy. I have seen more lifters like come up, be a big deal, feel like they're a big deal, and then go again, like, than you can possibly imagine. And it's the people who were the cloutiest top end, the people that were the idols, and then they leave. Let alone the people who are like these judgmental little shitbags of federations. So I really think you should compete where you enjoy. And I think this is what kills people's career in lifting. You have so much pressure that doesn't exist. So I remember back when I was in the BDFPA, years and years and years ago, I got loads of people message me when I got strong enough. So I was winning the internationals there, and I got people messaging me being like, "You should be in the BP. This is where you should do it." And I was like, "Well, I'm in no knee sleeves, a bit of a rustic competition, but I'm as strong as your guys." And then I got it for ages. I went and did a regional, and I was just doing my openers. And I was like, I just want to see how I find this. I won best lifter at that competition. I was like, this sucks. Like, this isn't fun at all. You guys only want to see me here so you think that you validated my results. I thought that was really weird, so I just didn't want to do it anymore. And I've competed in the ABP. I've competed in nigh on every federation, and I want to give a couple of the other ones a go at some point, just for the fun of it, because this is supposed to be fun. And yeah, I do think there's some cool prestige behind knowing you're against the best in the world, but when you're against them, like when you're actually competing against them, yeah, just showing up in the same federation isn't the same as being against them. So yeah, I just think it's a bit strange. And I'm a really big one for people come into this sport, they buy a shit ton of gear that they don't need. I mean, lifting belts of SBD and SBD knee sleeves and a singlet and blah, blah, blah. And then they get a coach maybe, and then they're putting, like, the process starts to become all of this fluff and be like, I thought you just wanted to be your strongest self. I thought you wanted to be as strong as you could be. I think people start with that, and then all this peripheral comes in of stuff that they think has some sort of meaningful agenda, and it just doesn't. It just doesn't matter. And I can promise you, I've seen people across every federation have a better time while they're not comparing to other people, or at least seeking validation of other people, than I have the ones who just chase the clout. So yeah, the short version is, like, I have nothing against you wanting to compete in a specific federation. But as long as the reason you want to compete there is for you, if it's for other people, I think that's really fucking sad. But you still shouldn't be allowed to do a backflip on the platform. I'm so for it. And also, don't give me this bullshit where it's like, no, but we have to be vocal because they'll listen. Have you been around for more than 6 months? No, they won't. They changed the depth rule on bench because of trolls on the internet, not the ones in the federation, not their actual athletes, because they cared about the viewership. And you all complained in the same way, and you know what happened? Nothing. Literally nothing. And so this time round, the federations complained, so the regional bodies of it basically complained to the IPF, and they went, we will suspend that because there are comps too close that can't change the rules just yet, and lifters haven't had prep time. They're not going to not apply the rules. They're going to have, like, mark my words. I will do an apology video in March when these rules have been delayed to, saying, IPF, I put my hands up. You may well have one of the craziest federations, have had presidents that have literally been in the news for shit. You might have done all that, but you did listen to Jared's Instagram story saying, hey, that made me sad, and then you changed your rules. I'll do an apology video, I promise. But it's not gonna fucking happen. Who knows? Maybe I'm wrong. Maybe I am being pessimistic, but I think it might be realist given the number of years they've done the same stuff. So if you're watching to this point and you're like, oh, so then what do I do? Look at the other feds, attend the other feds, compete where you want, enjoy your damn self. It's a long game. It's hard to get strong. That's why we fucking love it. That's why we do this game. So we get the best opportunity to really test our character, to live up to something, to earn something the way we want to do it. Not some arbitrary clout, right? It don't mean shit. So for now, enjoy your lifting, play the game, but play it for longer. I think that's about it. That's about all I need to say. But I'm about 1 minute away from the gym where I can pull up and safely stop the recording button. And I refuse to edit these videos. So if you do like these, please do let me know, because genuinely I like just having a bit of chat. It's good for me, it's good screen practice as well, which I talk about with the guys that I'm mentoring at the moment, and just getting in front of a camera. But I do want to chat about more stuff, but if every time I'm going to chat I have to spend time prepping and it has to be all edited and stuff for you guys to pay attention, then I'm just not going to make the time to do it. But truly I love this. So for now, that'll do. I'll catch you later. Peace.